Hey, welcome to this lesson. We're going to take a look at saprophytic nutrition. So we started with introduction to nutrition, then we also looked at nutrition in plants, then we also moved and looked at nutrition in animals where we focused on holozoic nutrition. Now, there is a third type of nutrition that we did not that we I think should be looked at in details, and that is saprophytic nutrition. By the way, I've used the word I think, but I'm not thinking. It is expected of you to look at this in details in your syllabus. Yeah. So, saprophytic nutrition is a nutrition that is performed by organisms such as fungi, or should I say, a good example of a fungi is a mushroom, as shown here. So let's get. So saprophytic nutrition is a type of nutrition where an organism called the saprophyte feeds on dead and decaying organic matter. So when something is dead and is left on the ground, for it to disappear, it has to be digested by certain organisms that are usually invisible to our naked eyes, and those organisms are saprophytes. So that type of nutrition is the saprophytic nutrition we are talking about here. Actually, even when you leave your, let's say, your tomato, your bread, for it to start decaying, or for in case of it of tomato, when it starts getting, when it rots, what causes that saprophytes. So the saprophyte feeds by secreting extracellular digestive enzymes from its structures called hyphae. So extracellular digestive enzymes, extracellular, the word extracellular means outside the cells. So these are enzymes that digest substances, but they work outside the cells. On short, they work outside an organism. So unlike in holozoic nutrition, where I've got enzymes in your stomach that digest different food substances such as proteins, in saprophytic nutrition, these enzymes are released outside the body, then they are going to digest a given substance. So the structures on saprophytes that that secrete these enzymes are called hyphae. So how the enzymes digest a given food substance is in this way. These enzymes hydrolyze the substrate, and the saprophyte absorb the end product. So there are two processes that are involved. The first is hydrolysis, in which the enzymes will break down a given substance such that it is turned into watery-like, or they break it down using water. The vernacular way that is close to hydrolyze can be kusungunula with water. So that's what these enzymes do. They will break down a given food substance with water. Once they do that, then they will absorb. Since water is easy to absorb, so the saprophyte will then absorb the given food substance, which has been broken down using water. Examples of saprophytes are mold fungi such as Mucor and Rhizopus. I know maybe you have never seen such things. I don't know what Mucor and Rhizopus are, but if you have at any point looked at a rotten thing, for example, a bread, let's say a slice of bread that is getting bad, those colors, the greenish colors that start forming, the greenish colors are actually the saprophytes, the mold fungi, the mold fungi that are have started digesting that bread. So we're going to take a look at the structure of the two examples of saprophytes, which are Mucor and Rhizopus. So these are these two are Mucor and Rhizopus. So we're going to just start the structures, and we learn how they digest food substances. So basically, the saprophytes, the Mucor and the Rhizopus, are made up of strands. So these strands are these these strands which are coming out like fingers. So these are called hypha. So these are the ones that release extracellular enzymes that end up digesting substances. So sometimes hyphas can be grouped together, like we can have a lot of hyphas here, or maybe here, like the way they appear here. So when a mass or group of hyphae is called a mycelium, and then there are three types of hyphae. The first one are these ones which go from left to right or right to left, like this one here. It appears to be going from right to left, and this one here the same as these here. So these ones are called stolons. So horizontal hyphas are called stolons. The other types of hyphas are these ones which are like roots. These which are like roots which go deep down. So these ones are the root-like hyphas are called rhizoids. Then we also have these ones which go up, but the direction doesn't matter. What matters on these ones is at the end they have got some kind of a sac that have got ball-like substances called spores, and this one is and the entire sac is called the spore case. So it's like a sac called the spore case. Then inside the spore case there are what are called spores. So hyphas that have got spores at the end, or that have got spore cases at the end, are called sporangiophore. So these are sporangiophore. This one is a sporangiophore, this one is a sporangiophore, this one is a sporangiophore, and this one is a sporangiophore because they have got spore cases at the end. So these spores at the end are just used for reproduction. In short, if, for example, wind blows, then they will fall. Wherever they are going to fall, then another organism or another saprophyte is going to germinate from there. So, but what we're interested in this lesson is nutrition, not reproduction, how they feed. So when you try to go back and concentrate on the topic of discussion, nutrition, how do they feed? So I explained already that they feed by secreting extracellular enzymes. So for example, let's say we've got a food substance here. So this is a substance that these saprophytes have to feed on. So how do they feed? So they just secrete an extracellular enzyme. So this one is an hypha, so it's going to go on the food substance. Then this enzyme is going to break down or to hydrolyze this food substance till it becomes broken, or it is in form of water like that. Then after that, the saprophyte is going to absorb the given substance. So the saprophyte since it is in contact with the given broken down food, so it's going to absorb it into its system. That's how they feed. So we're going to take a look at importance of saprophytic nutrition. What is the importance of saprophytic nutrition? So the first is they decompose dead organic matter, thereby preventing accumulation of dead bodies. So if we never had saprophytes, then if something is dead, for example, a dog is dead, it will just be there. Even if you bury it under the soil, it will just be there. It will never decay. So saprophytic organisms help us with decomposing this dead organic matter. Secondly, they play a role in the recycling of nutrients such as carbon and nitrogen. So when they decompose, when they decompose a dead organism, the nutrients that makes up that organism is taken back to the soil. And interestingly, the Bible says that Adam was made from the soil, so the saprophytes help in taking Adam back to the soil. So our bodies, they are made of nutrients, usually it's carbon. So when we are decomposed, the carbon is taken back to the soil. So this is one importance of saprophytic nutrition. Another element that is taken back is nitrogen. So there's nitrogen in the air, a small percentage, but saprophytic nutrition, they are able to, there are certain types of saprophytes that are able to take this nitrogen from the air and put it back into usually the roots of certain plants. So they help in recycling nutrients such as carbon and nitrogen. These two are going to be studied in details in a later topic. Then the third importance is some saprophytes are used as food. We all eat mushrooms. Maybe not all of us, but most of us eat mushrooms. So we do eat some saprophytes. Then the last one is some saprophytes such as yeast are important in brewing and baking. So if you remember when we were studying enzymes, we talked about the importance of yeast and how it provides the enzyme zymase. So some saprophytes are very important in processes such as brewing and baking. We're going to finish this part by studying other feeding relations between organisms. So we're going to study what is called symbiosis. So what is symbiosis? Symbiosis is an association between two different species of organisms. So a species of an organism is a type of an organism. For example, us as humans were a species, dogs are a different species, butterflies are a different species. So if there is an association, some kind of relationship between two different species of organisms, we say there is symbiosis. So there are three types of symbioses. I don't know if that's the plural for symbiosis. So symbiosis can be classified into three. So the first is mutualism. So mutualism is where there is a mutual relationship between two organisms involved, or can be defined as an association in which both species benefit. The word mutual means like the two parties that are involved are on the same page. So mutualism is a type of symbiosis in which both species benefit. A good example of mutualism is the association between ruminants and the microbes. So ruminants are animals like cow, goat, and the likes. So ruminants have got what are called microbes in their guts. We humans, we cannot eat grass because it is made of it has a lot of cellulose. It's one of the reasons, not the whole reason, but it has cellulose, but we don't have enzymes that digest cellulose. But these animals have got these microbes which help in the digestion of the stuff, which help in the digestion of the tough cellulose that is found in the grass. So how is this relationship a mutualism? So ruminants benefit by having the tough cellulose digested by the microbes, while microbes benefit by having a home inside the ruminants. So in short, the ruminants provide the habitat. The word habitat means home, and the microbes help in digesting tough cellulose found in the food. Another good example is the relationship between ligands and nitrogen fixing bacteria. So ligands are food like groundnuts, beans. Yeah, so these are like nuts. So most of the nuts are ligands. So the ligands usually have got what are called nitrogen fixing bacteria. So the nitrogen fixing bacteria are are examples of saprophytes that I talked about, which take nitrogen from the air and put it back in the roots usually of plants. So usually they put back the nitrogen in the ligands, and ligands need that nitrogen. So the ligands benefit by having nitrogen, by having a supply of nitrogen from nitrogen fixing bacteria, and the nitrogen fixing bacteria benefit by the nitrogen fixing bacteria benefit by having finding a home on the roots of ligands. So this is what I'm explaining. The ligands provide habitat to the rhizobium. So the rhizobium is the nitrogen fixing bacteria, while the rhizobium fixes nitrogen into the ligand plant. So the other type of symbiosis is commensalism. So what is commensalism? Commensalism is an association in which one species benefits while the other does not benefit and is not harmed. For example, the association between trees and birds. So birds find trees. They are both species. A tree is an organism. So a bird can find home on a given tree, so it will be benefiting. While the tree in the process is not harmed, and maybe it's not even benefiting. So that's commensalism. The last type is parasitism. So parasitism is a type of symbiosis in which one species benefit while the other is harmed. So one species is going to benefit, the other one is going to be harmed. A very common example is the association between humans and lice. So lice keeps on feeding on humans, where humans benefit nothing and are harmed in the process. So this is an association called parasitism. Well, this marks the end of this topic. Hope you have find it interesting. Watch out for the next topic, and happy solving.